everyone, my name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef, and today I'm going to share my air fryer class with you guys. Not everybody's able to join me in person when I have events here in Sarasota, Florida, and I have so many requests for these classes to be virtual. So I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. As you're watching, please comment, let me know where you're watching from, and if you're watching this live or if you're catching the replay. So if you have the Pampered Chef air fryer already, I would love for you to share that also in the comments so that I know who has the air fryer and who just has it on their wish list right now. So if you don't have Pampered Chef's air fryer, you are really missing out. It is one of our favorite appliances, and people ask me all the time, what's your favorite Pampered Chef appliance? And I don't know how to answer that question because I love them all so much. You can see I have 2 air fryers here, so that should tell you how much we love the air fryer. I'm going to show you so many different things that I've already made ahead of time. I'll tell you about them. I will post the recipes in my recipe community. If you are not a member of that group yet, you need to find it. You are missing out if you're not there. I have thousands of recipes and a weekly giveaway every single Friday. So I'm excited to give away one of these air fryers, and so those of you that are joining me virtually and shopping with me, you're going to be entered in to win a free air fryer, and I will announce that winner on July 30th or the 31st. So I'm going to be traveling as well, and so I want to make sure that I have time to get everybody's entries in. So can't wait to hear what you think about what I'm going to share with you now. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to show you how to make 2 recipes, and I have one already in here, and I'm going to go ahead and take it out and finish it off, or at least show you how I made it. So this is bacon that I made in the rotating basket. If you're not familiar with Pampered Chef's air fryer, it comes with a rotating basket as a standard accessory. Another standard accessory is going to be this rotisserie spit. I'm going to show you how to roast a head of cauliflower on this in just a little while. You can also use this for a rotisserie chicken. So you have several different options for using the rotisserie spit. You can even put a pineapple on there and roast it. It's amazing. I've done that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our retrieval tool, and I'm going to take this out of the air fryer. This has had time to cool off, but here is the bacon, and I do have a separate video on my YouTube channel showing you how to make strips of bacon using this same method, so you can go and watch that video if you would like to check that out. This time I actually cut the pieces into bite-sized pieces, since that's how I'm going to serve these in a salad. Now, a little trick for you guys. Here, you're going to see I have 2 pieces of bread, and I put this here to catch all of the bacon grease so there's not a mess to clean up when I'm done. So I'm going to toss these in the trash, and I'll wash that drip tray. The drip tray is really the only piece of your air fryer, as far as removable pieces, that cannot go in the dishwasher. You do want to hand wash that drip tray, so keep that in mind. And just so you know, standard accessories are 2 racks, which look similar to this one here. This is our mess catcher, which I'll tell you about in just a few minutes. You're going to get the rotating basket, which is this here. You're going to get the rotisserie spit, the drip tray, and then 2 of the trays like that. And there's also a guard. This goes at the top. A lot of people think that this is an extra tray, so that because this will hold 3 trays, and we do sell a replacement part if you wanted to add a 3rd tray for dehydrating. But this is a guard, and it's really important that you put it in at the top, very top, and that you put it in correctly. So you see how this little bar, I can grab onto this and pull it out. If you flip this over and try to put it in upside down, it's not going to go in all the way, and your door is not going to close, and your air fryer will not work if the door will not close. So make sure you slide that up against the very top so that it's where the fan is. I'm looking for my towel because my hands are greasy now. And this is the bacon that I made before I started the video. If this was hot still, you would want to use an oven mitt or one of our microwave grips to hold on to the basket, wherever is most comfortable for you. And then take your retrieval tool, slide it inside that little hook that goes on the door, and you're gonna pull back so that you can open this without burning yourself. So in here I have our bacon, just little bacon, almost like bacon bits that I made. I'm gonna pour those into my bowl so that you guys can see this, and so this is going to go on a salad, and so it's great for whoops, I'm actually going to set this over here. I don't want to lose that on the floor. It's great for baked potatoes as well. So this is really greasy. I'm going to wash my hands really quickly, and then we'll get the recipe in this air fryer that I want to show you guys first. So I actually said I was going to show you 2 recipes. I'm hoping that I have time to show you 3. If you don't get to see all of them into completion, I will post pictures and in my recipe community too. So I don't want to forget the drip tray, so I'm going to slide this back in here. I have another rotating basket, and we're going to use that one for this next recipe. This is just a chicken breast cut up into bite-sized pieces. So for this particular recipe, you're going to use 1 to 2 chicken breasts. I have 1 in here because that's all that I need to make right now. We're going to add a tablespoon or 2 of our garlic Parmesan oil. Now, this has garlic and Parmesan in the bottle, so you want to make sure that you shake it up really, really well so that you get all that good stuff when you pour this over your chicken. And I'm going to just use these tongs to kind of toss this in that garlic Parmesan oil. And I'm really excited. Pampered Chef will be launching the garlic Parmesan seasoning in the fall 2020. So depending on when you're watching this, this may already be available for purchase if you're watching the replay. But this was a seasoning that we offered in our Taste Bud subscription last year, and they send out surveys whenever we try testing a seasoning to see what people think. So if you're a Taste Bud subscriber and you get that survey every month, make sure that you let them know what you think about these limited edition seasonings, because if they get enough positive feedback, they may bring it to the line. So since this is just 1 chicken breast, I did 1 tablespoon of the garlic and garlic Parmesan rub and the garlic Parmesan oil. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a clean rotating basket, and I'm going to spray this with oil. I'm going to use our kitchen spritzer to do that. Pump this full of air so that you have pressure to spray this like an aerosol can, but without all the preservatives. I'm going to hold this over my sink here, spray the sides and all of the mesh. You can spray the inside and the outside if you want. Since there's holes, obviously that oil does go through it a little bit. And then we're going to just put our chicken in here. I have found that people don't know what to do with their rotating basket. And so I'm going to show you quite a few recipes tonight of things that you can use the rotating basket for. It's kind of like the product that comes with your air fryer that people put away and then they just don't think about it and they don't know what they can do with it. So we're going to lock the basket, and then, whoops, it's got oil all over it, so let me use my retrieval tool. Usually when it's cold, I can just put it in there with my hands. We're going to slide this in and then hook it on the right. So when you check to make sure that it's in right, just make sure you can kind of slide that from side to side. I'm going to close this door. I'm going to turn it to the rotisserie setting, which is a pre-programmed temperature of 400 degrees. We're going to lower the time. Oops, I got to select it first. And we're going to lower this to about 10 minutes. For 2 chicken breasts, I do 12. I'm just going to do 10 for this and just see if it needs any extra time. But that is the rotisserie function on the deluxe air fryer. So you want to make sure that you peek inside. You're not going to be able to see this on the camera, but I can look in. I want to make sure that the basket is rotating. The rotisserie setting automatically rotates because it's on the rotisserie setting. If you're using any of the other settings and you're using the basket or the rotisserie spit and you want it to rotate, you have to push the rotate button. So let's talk a minute about all of the features that are pre-programmed into this air fryer and what makes this air fryer better than the competition. So first of all, it's a family size air fryer, so it's a very large capacity. It can accommodate 3 trays. It has pre-programmed settings that are pre-programmed time and pre-programmed temperatures. The temperatures on the pre-programmed settings cannot be changed, but the time can be, which is what we just did. If you want to set a custom time and a custom temp, then you just press custom. You set your temp time and you set your temperature. It's super easy to use. You do get a cooking guide that looks just like this, and it goes through all of the functions. So the pre-programmed settings that we have on this air fryer, we have air fry, bake, roast, rotisserie, reheat, which is great for reheating leftovers from the restaurant or especially pizza, dehydrate, the custom setting that I mentioned, and then the rotate setting can be used on the rotate button can be used on any setting that you like. Just make sure you push the button if you're not using the rotisserie setting and you want it to rotate. So there's no preheating time. So if you are getting air fryer recipes from Pinterest or cookbooks that you've picked up at the bookstore or any recipe online that tells you preheat your air fryer for X amount of minutes, you do not have to do that with Pampered Chef's air fryer. Just turn it on, set it to the temp that you want. It takes 30 seconds to preheat, and so that's why we say there's no preheating time, because 30 seconds is like no time at all, right? So this is such a great thing to use all year round, but especially in the summertime. So if you live in a hot climate like I do, I'm in South Florida, you don't want to have your ovens on all the time because it's going to heat up your kitchen, it's going to heat up your house. And so using something like this, there's no preheat time, it's not going to heat up your kitchen, you get super fast results and just such great time and results that you're going to get there. Got tongue-tied. So we're going to let this keep going. We're going to get our cauliflower ready to go, and then I'm going to tell you about the corn as well. So let's go ahead and get the corn ready because I melted the butter and I don't want it to solidify. So I'm going to show you this mess catcher, and I'm using the mess catcher because maybe I left the butter in the microwave. Let's see. No, where did I put it? It's hiding. I thought I got it. Oh, here it is. The mess catcher is great for anything that is going to be really messy. So if you wanted to do strips of bacon and not use the rotating basket, then you could lay your strips of bacon right on here and the grease would catch in the mess catcher. So you see, this is two different pieces here. I'll tell you another cool thing that you can use this mess catcher for. One thing you want to keep in mind with our air fryer is that you're not supposed to use aluminum foil in the air fryer. I know that there's other air fryers on the market that say that you can use aluminum foil and recipes that tell you to use aluminum foil, but Pampered Chef doesn't want anything to happen while you're cooking in your air fryer. And because this is such a small product in comparison to like a regular oven, and there's that fan in there, if you put aluminum foil in there, it's going to blow that foil around, and little pieces of that foil could end up in your food, or it could end up in the fan and could cause it to malfunction and to not work. And so we want your air fryer to last a long time, so don't use aluminum foil in it for your safety and for the longevity of your air fryer. So I'm going to show you a recipe that I made yesterday, and it's a cake, and I realized that I put it in the higher position than it should have been, and so it was browning way too fast. So I took the mess catcher, I just flipped it over, and I slid it in the top position so that it sort of acted like that aluminum foil shield so that it didn't continue to brown the top of the cake while it finished cooking. So the mess catcher is great to use in place of aluminum foil if you're trying to shield something from that heating element. So for the corn, let's see if I can pick this back up. I was gonna use fresh corn for this, but I couldn't believe it. When I went to the grocery store, there's apparently a corn shortage, so who knew, right? Every day it's some new shortage of food or something that we need. I'm gonna brush this corn with butter, and so this has been frozen and defrosted, so it's a little bit more wet than if I had bought fresh corn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna brush the butter on here. I just melted a couple tablespoons of butter in the prep bowl in the microwave. Let me rotate these, see if I can do this without making too much of a mess. And then we'll get the other sides. And so any of that butter that's gonna drip, whoops, almost, will go into that mess catcher. And you can add seasonings at this point too. So if you wanted to, one of the things I like to do is add chili lime rub. I'm just gonna do butter for this one because this is also gonna go in a salad. So all the ingredients I'm making today, except for the cauliflower that I'm showing you guys, are gonna go in. So the bacon is going in the salad, the chicken's going in the salad. I'm gonna remove the kernels from the corn after I cook it for the salad. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna put this one in this air fryer, and let me borrow this drip tray. I'm doing this in a different order than I planned. We'll do the cauliflower in this one when it is ready to go. So I'm gonna slide that drip tray in there. I'm gonna take my mess catcher, and I'm going to slide this in the middle position. And for the corn, I'm going to air fry this. You're going to do 10 to 15 minutes on the air fry setting. I know you probably can't see this from that far away, but I'm choosing air fry. I'm pressing the wheel, and I'm going to reduce the time to just 10 minutes. When I have the bigger fresh corn cobs, I usually do 15 minutes, but since these are half size, I'm gonna do 10, and the default temperature is 400, and that's what I want. So air fry setting for 10 to 15 minutes, depending on what recipe you're making. Now, let's go ahead and get our cauliflower ready to go in the air fryer. We have 4 more minutes left on this, so we're doing good on time. So I've got a fresh head of cauliflower, and I went ahead and just cut off the leaves here, but you want to leave that core intact. So I'm going to show you our rotisserie spit, and I'm going to zoom in on this so that you guys can see how this works. And I recommend that you practice doing this on cauliflower first, or pineapple, before you do this on a whole chicken, just because it's a little harder with that slimy chicken to learn how to do this. So you've got all of these pieces are connected right now. I'm going to unscrew one side and pull the fork end off, and this is going to attach into the cauliflower. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shove this in just like that, and I'm going to just tap this a couple of times. There we go. And then you're going to take the fork side that we just took off, and you're going to line it back up. Whoops. Let's see. I was not quite over that hump. Let's see. There we go. This cauliflower is a lot harder to push through than, say, a chicken, because the chicken has that cavity that you're going to be pushing through. There we go. So you want to get that fork back on there, and I'm going to go over one more little. Now you know why I say to practice this on something that's not too slimy. And dry your chicken too. There we go. And then we're going to tighten that. Now I want to teach you a little trick for when this is hot and you have a rotisserie chicken on here, or something that you need to unscrew the screws with without burning yourself. So these are our toaster tongs. And what you can do, we'll pretend we'll give you the full effect. Hold one side with your microwave grip, and then the other side you can twist the screw with your toaster tongs. So it's pretty cool, right? So I'm going to tighten this so that it's on there really well. And then what we're going to do next is I'm going to brush this with some oil and get it ready to go in when we take out. Oops. I need a bigger countertop, guys. When the chicken is done in 1 minute, we're going to swap these out. So I have some garlic infused oil. I'm going to pour that in this dish here. So just a little bit. You can always add more if you need it. And I'm going to take another silicone basting brush, and I'm going to brush the cauliflower. So pretty much with anything that you're going to cook, you need to add a little bit of oil to get that fried effect. And so I'm going to flip this over, add a little bit more oil. You can use regular oil if you want. This is just Pampered Chef's garlic infused. This is not garlic parmesan that we used on the chicken. This is just plain garlic. Let's see. Get that nice and coated. And then we're going to sprinkle this with our herb and onion rub. All right, so our other recipe is done. I'm going to move these bottles of oil out of the way because I don't want to drop them on the floor. Okay, so our chicken is done, and I'm going to leave that in there just a second longer. I'm going to take our herb and onion rub, and I'm just going to pop open. I like that we have a shaker side on our bottles, and I'm just going to sprinkle the onion rub right over this. So if you've ever bought Lipton's, what is it, garden herb soup mix, I can't remember if that's the one that or if it's the onion soup mix that I use as a substitute, but it's great. I like to make salad dressings with this. You can find several recipes in my recipe group too. All right, so let's do a little switcheroo here. Let's see. Hope you guys are still with me. All right, I'm gonna take my retrieval tool, just like I did putting it in. I'm gonna pull away. Oops. It's a really awkward angle there. And let me go ahead and grab my cauliflower. So I've got my cauliflower on this tool. Let's see if I can do this without burning myself and getting my necklace caught in there. Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna get that in there. And for the cauliflower, I'm gonna use my cheat sheet because I wanna make sure I do this right. Let's see, cauliflower, I am just looking in the cooking guide under, let's see, roasted vegetables. So it gives you a guide on how to roast things. Rotisserie is where I need to be because I'm putting this on the rotisserie spit. I think it's 25 minutes, but I want to make sure that I tell you correctly. And I have this, here we go. One whole cauliflower, 24 to 26 minutes. And we're gonna put it on the rotisserie setting. So rotisserie, select, lower this to 24 minutes, press start, and let me peek and make sure, yep, it's rotating. So we're gonna let that do its thing. I don't know if you heard this air fryer beep, but it's telling me, hey, the half of the cooking time is done. And so I don't need to rotate these trays or anything, but if I did, that's that chime. It tells you halfway through the cooking time when it's time for you to shuffle the trays around. So just keep that in mind. All right, let me show you this chicken here. So remember that trick I told you? Use a little oven mitt or something to hold on to the hot basket. Hook this in, and look at this. Isn't that amazing? So we have our chicken. Let's see, I don't have, here we'll use these tongs. But look, perfect bite-sized chicken. My family, everybody in my family loves this, and this is our new favorite seasoning. I'm so glad I don't have to ration out using my garlic parmesan seasoning because I'll be able to order some more soon. But I'm gonna set this aside, but this is our chicken. And we're gonna wait 4 minutes on the corn. And while we're waiting on that, let me tell you some of the other things that I made ahead of time so that you can check them out and get excited about what you can use your air fryer for. I do want to point out 2 recipes that come in the cooking guide that are like my favorite recipes for the air fryer, hands down, no matter what. These are the best air fryer recipes. The first one is chicken parmesan. I love making this. They're breaded chicken tenders and so easy to make using the racks that come with your air fryer. I'm telling you, this recipe is something, I was making it like every week to 10 days for probably 6 months, and my family loves it. The other one is the Peruvian chicken with green sauce. This is a rotisserie chicken, and it is incredible. I made this last week, and the green sauce, I could just drink it. It is so good, and what I like to do with the leftovers from the rotisserie chicken and the green sauce is I like to grill Greek pita, and I do that in my deluxe grill and griddle, which is on the other side of the kitchen over there. I grill the pita, put green sauce on it, chicken on it, and I fold it like a taco, and it is amazing. So those are just a couple of little hidden gems in the cookbook. So are you guys ready to see all of the things that I've made in the air fryer? Everything I'm going to show you was made in the air fryer, or part of it was made in the air fryer. So I'll make sure to explain it to you. And before you get overwhelmed, don't feel like you have to take notes, I will post all of the recipes in my recipe community. If you don't know how to find that, go to theflipflopchef.com, click the button at the top of the page. You're going to have access to all of them, okay? It might take me a couple days to get them up, but you're going to have access to all of them. Some of them are already there. All right, so this is a batch of sugared pecans, and I made these also using the rotating basket. They are delicious to eat just as they are, or if you're making like an island type salad with like mandarin oranges and strawberries with a bunch of spinach leaves, you could add in these in place of like candied pecans. So these are sugared pecans. They are addictive. You know, when you walk by the carts, the nut carts that like festivals and stuff, you can just smell it. That is what these are. They're so amazing. And you could use almonds if you prefer that, or walnuts, whatever, or mixture. You can get creative. The next thing I want to show you is dehydrated apples. I will tell you, I am not a big dehydrator. I'm going to be taking a dehydrating class actually in a couple of months myself through the University of Florida. Their extension office is literally right behind my house, and I'm going to be taking a dehydrating class online. That one's online actually, and learning more about dehydrating, because that's not something that's really part of my cooking every day, but this has a dehydrate function, and so you can make these dehydrated apples. You can make beef jerky. You can get really creative with what you're dehydrating. So if you're looking for a dehydrator, you can use the air fryer for that and not have to have a separate appliance. Now, We do have the ability, like I mentioned earlier, to add a third tray, and I recommend doing that if you are going to be dehydrating, because most things that you're dehydrating are really thin, and for that thin food, you can stack those 3 trays. Other foods, you may not be able to get 3 trays depending on how high the food is on that rack. So you can use it as a dehydrator, and these are the apples. I'm gonna set these aside, and I'll check on our corn here. All right, so did you guys hear this beep? We had, oh gosh, it looks great. Let me grab a hot pad. All right, so we have air fried corn. Look at this. Doesn't that look amazing? Like, this butter is literally sizzling. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'm actually gonna set this over here because it's so hot. I'll just end up shuffling it around. But that is how you make your corn in the air fryer. So let's keep moving along while we wait on the cauliflower, and I have a couple things hidden under here. I was making full use of all of my counter space here. So the next thing that I made in the rotating basket are these croutons. These are amazing, and I made these several days ago, and they're still nice and crispy. They're not stale. I stored them in Pampered Chef's leak-proof storage container, and I've been so impressed by how many days these have lasted. I've tasted them every few days just to make sure I didn't need to make another batch. So this is a half a loaf of French bread. So you know the long, skinny loaves of French bread. This is half of a loaf, and I cut it into these bite-sized pieces, and I added our garlic Parmesan oil. That's it. No other seasonings, just the garlic Parmesan oil, and I think this took 10 minutes, but don't take my word on that. I will post, that's actually already posted in my recipe community. Now, this recipe is from my friend Tammy Benton. So Tammy, I think you're gonna be watching tonight. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for sharing this. So this is a nut granola recipe. I used a mixture of nuts, and I cannot remember all the ingredients that I put in there, but I will post that recipe. Thank you for sharing that, Tammy. Put the ingredients in the rotating basket to basically roast the nuts, and then I used coconut palm sugar. I think Tammy used Swerve. I'll post her recipe, but I didn't have any of that. I had coconut palm sugar, and you melt that in a skillet, and you toss the nuts in there, and then you lay them out to dry. These are really, really good. So you could eat these just as a snack, or you could put them in yogurt or oatmeal. You can get really creative with how you want to do this. Even put them on a salad if you like. So croutons and the nut granola. All right. Hope you guys are still with me. I'm covering a lot of information in a really, really short period of time, so I always hope that you guys are keeping up and that I'm not losing you. And you will be able to watch the replay too, so you can go back and check it out. So the next thing I want to show you guys is the caramel latte bread, and I have this in our small cool and serve. I love that this is the perfect size for both the pressure cooker fluted pan and the pressure cooker springform pan. So this is a full batch of caramel latte bread, and I would have to double check the time on this, but I recommend that you drizzle this with caramel, fresh caramel, which I have. And before I serve this, I'm going to drizzle it with that homemade caramel. I made it in Pampered Chef's Deluxe Cooking Blender, and that's another video that you can find on my playlist for the Deluxe Cooking Blender on YouTube. The next one I want to show you, this is the dulce de leche cake mix. This is probably my favorite item from Pampered Chef's pantry line. This cake mix is to die for. And so this is another one that you could put just caramel on top, or you could pour like a can of dulce de leche on top of that too. Get really creative. I baked this one in this pressure cooker springform pan. Now, if you remember earlier when I told you I put the cake in at the wrong position. So in the air fryer, there are 3 positions. I should have put it at the very bottom, not the drip tray, but the first slot. And for some reason, I put it in the middle. Well, I checked on it, and I'm glad I did. And I realized, okay, it's getting too brown too fast. So that's when I put the mess catcher in upside down at the very top position, just to shield it from the heat. I cannot tell you how long this took. It took way longer than I planned. I will probably try this again sometime, but you can also make it in the fluted pan. So a great way to serve this is you could pour dulce de leche on here. You could put like salted caramel whipped cream on the top and drizzle it with some homemade caramel. So I haven't decided how I'm going to serve this yet, but it is amazing. It smells so good. And thank goodness for our cake testers, because I was able to check the center as I was baking it, because it did take a lot longer than the recipe that I found in another group suggested. So sometimes things don't work out the way that you are expecting them to. All right, the next one, this recipe, if you like hummus, this hummus recipe comes with Pampered Chef's Deluxe Cooking Blender Cooking Guide. So the hummus was made in the blender, didn't make the hummus in the air fryer. And then the pita chips I did make in the air fryer, again using that rotating basket. I took, I think it was, this is 2 batches, and each batch was 3 Greek pitas. And if you don't know what Greek pitas are, they're the pita bread that's like naan bread. They don't have a pocket that you can stuff. They're softer, they're thicker, and I personally like them way better than pita bread in general. So I cut these with a pizza cutter, cut them into 8 pieces, and sprayed them with oil and tossed them with Pampered Chef's Greek rub. So I'm telling you about all kinds of Pampered Chef pantry products. If you didn't know that we have food products, they are phenomenal. I like pretty much every single one of them. I can't even think of one that I don't like. And our dry rubs and seasonings are all gluten-free and they're kosher. So this is hummus made in the blender, pita chips with Greek seasoning made in the rotating basket in the air fryer. All right, let me reach over here. This is Chex Mix. Now, I'm pretty sure I overcooked this a little bit. It says pampered, not perfect, but it is what it is. The next batch I'll cook a little bit less time, so I'll post in the recipe community once I have perfected this. I cooked this for 20 minutes in 2 batches, so filled half of the recipe in one rotating basket, half of the recipe in another. I have that benefit of having 2 air fryers to do them at the same time, but I feel like that these got a little bit too crispy. I think some people probably will like it, and so I didn't throw it out. And the next batch I won't cook quite as long. I'll probably go with 15 minutes and check on it, but this one was cooked for 20. All right, and then another recipe, gotta keep reaching here. This is appleberry salsa with cinnamon tortilla chips. If you've been around with Pampered Chef for an extended period of time, like me, then you know this is a recipe from the 90s and it is amazing. And I did record a video showing you guys how to make this and the hummus, so stay tuned for those on my channel coming soon. And so the appleberry salsa, it has apples, kiwi fruit, strawberries, orange zest, apple jelly, which I made in the blender, and orange juice. And I forgot to add the orange juice during the video. I realized it after I went off camera, so I added that in. And then the tortilla chips, I sprayed those with oil and sprinkled them with cinnamon sugar. I also cooked them in the air fryer in that rotating basket, and these take about 12 minutes in that air fryer rotating basket to make, so very much like the pita chips. So super easy and delicious. All right, let's see here. A couple more things. Let me bring a couple of these things around here so I don't forget them. That cauliflower smells so good. Okay, so this is just a chip and dip platter. This is called the chip and dip platter from Pampered Chef, and I have it with a sandstone bowl in the middle because I use my gray stones inside of the medium bowls. But it comes with the gray stone bowl, and I made these chips also in the air fryer. These are tortilla chips cut into 8s, sprayed with oil just like I did the cinnamon pitas, but I sprinkled chipotle seasoning on the chipotle rub on those. This salsa is a blender salsa. I made 2 salsas. I intended to serve this with the roasted salsa, but I'll tell you about that in a second. It was way too hot, so I ended up making a regular salsa that was not roasted. So this is a blender salsa recipe, just a total bonus that I wasn't planning on. But you got the tortilla chips and the salsa in the middle. Let me set this over here. This is the salsa that I made. I roasted salsa, or roasted vegetables in the air fryer, turned it into salsa using the Deluxe Cooking Blender. I did make a video for that, and I will share that at some point in time on my channel as well. But just know, the way that I made this in the video, it is super, super spicy. So it was really even Keith was like, you can't serve that. I ended up adding 2 extra cans of diced tomatoes to it to kind of bring that heat down to where it was tolerable, but I still realized that it's very spicy. And I think what made it so spicy was, I did remove the seeds from the jalapeno, which I don't usually do, but sometimes you get a hot pepper, and I think that might have been part of it. But I also added chipotle rub into the salsa, and our chipotle rub does have a little bit of a kick, so I think the combination of those things, it just made it too spicy for most people. But I love storing salsa in our make and take mason jars. These are BPA free jars. They have 2 lids, so this is the top lid. If you're using this for like a salad in a jar, you can put your dressing in the top, or your nut granola if you want. And then the other lid opens there, and you've got your mason jar. All right, let's see. So I'm going to show you the fruit leather and tell you about a few other accessories. We've got 10 more minutes on the cauliflower. I'm not sure we'll be together that long, but I'll let you guys check this out. Look, isn't that so pretty? It looks really, really good. So I'll just let this keep cooking. But let's talk about some of the other things that you can make. I did make fruit leather, and that's basically fruit roll-ups. I don't make these very often. My kids don't love them, and it's probably because they're used to eating like the fruit roll-ups from the store, and they're a lot sweeter. And the whole benefit of making your own fruit leather is that you can make them a little bit more healthy. I've tried several different recipes, and they're just not a fan, so I don't make them very often. But this one I thought was pretty good. This is blueberry, banana, chia seed fruit leather. That was a mouthful. And I don't usually wrap these in parchment paper, but I just cut these little strips of parchment paper, and it keeps them from sticking together. And so these were made on the dehydrate setting of the air fryer in our fruit leather trays. So I'm going to show you those, but I want to tell you what you can use those trays for if you're not going to be using them to make fruit leather. So these do come in a set of 3. So you get 3 fruit leather trays, and this is what they look like on the other side. So if you're making your fruit leather, you blend up your ingredients, you just press it out in here. I do have a video on my channel showing you how to make that. And there are 3 because there are 3 positions. Now that this one's empty, let me zoom in over here, and I'll show you, move my faucet out of the way. Hopefully that's a close enough look for you guys. So you can put 1 in the bottom, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the top. So hopefully you guys can see from here. I'm not sure you can, but there's more space between the top and the middle than there is the top and the bottom. And that's why you can't always cook with 3 racks for all food. So it's going to depend on what you're making. If the food is too tall between the bottom and the middle rack, then you may not be able to fit 3. But it's great for dehydrating. So I do recommend having that 3rd metal tray. Let me grab one so you can see. These are the trays that come with the air fryer, and I put this little silicone oven rack protector on here, but we don't sell those anymore. It just keeps me from bumping this when I'm cooking. But this will accommodate 3 of those racks, but you get 2 with your air fryer. Now, air frying is great because it helps your food get really, really crispy. I, however, am someone who likes certain things to not be crispy all around. I'm gonna check on this. I feel like that is like really brown already. I'm going to press cancel to stop cooking that, and we'll take it out in a few minutes, but I feel like the 24 minutes or however long it said was too long. So I'll double check that, but I don't want to burn it, especially while I'm live with you guys. So what I was saying, air frying is great because it makes everything super crispy, but sometimes I don't want things super crispy. Like if I have a piece of pizza, whether I made it or it came from a restaurant, I don't want the whole thing to be crunchy. I like the toppings to be melted, and the edge is fine to be crispy, but the bottom of the pizza, I want it to still be soft. I don't want it to be crunchy. Did you guys notice the fan went off? The fan shuts off 30 seconds after the time is up. So what I do when I want to reheat pizza, and Connor is like totally my kid, we have such similar taste. He prefers to heat things on this, whether it's chicken nuggets out of the freezer, or reheating Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets, or a piece of pizza. His latest thing, which I asked him to do a video for you guys, so maybe I'll convince him to do this. Recently we went through McDonald's. We don't go there very often, but they wanted Happy Meals, so I was like, okay, sure. Made my life easier that night. Christian gets a hamburger, but he doesn't eat the bun. He just eats the meat. Well, then he gives Connor the bun. Well, Connor decided to take the bun and make a chicken sandwich when he came home, and he used leftover lemon garlic chicken that I had cooked, and he just kept saying, I need some more of those McDonald's buns. And I was like, can we just go buy some buns? And I said, Connor, you can make them yourself. Like, just get a hamburger bun, we have them. I said just put some butter on it and put it in the air fryer and then make your sandwich. And so he is like so excited that he can make his own McDonald's buns. And I said, just like Chick-fil-A, they put a little butter on them, they toast them, and then they put them together. So he toasts his buns on the silicone tray so that the bread doesn't get crispy, overly crispy, and the butter melts. So we use fruit leather trays almost every day in our house, but almost never for fruit leather, okay? So it just gives you another cooking surface, and you're gonna get a little bit different outcome when you're using the fruit leather trays. All right, I don't want to forget anything, so let me make sure I don't have anything else hiding under here that I didn't show you guys. I do want to talk to you about this product. This is not a Pampered Chef product, but it is something that I recommend, and you can get these. There's a link in my recipe community. These come from Amazon. It's like $8 for a pack of these, and there's 100 of these parchment paper sheets in here. You can use parchment paper in the air fryer. It doesn't have to have holes, but it's better if it has holes if you do want something to really crisp up. So like chicken tenders, if you're using raw chicken tenders, you really don't want to cook those on a silicone tray because it really does need that airflow. And so I use the parchment paper squares quite often in the air fryer so that food doesn't stick to the trays, and they still cook really well, but it makes cleanup a breeze. So I believe these are the 8.5 inch parchment paper squares, and I get them on Amazon. So I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about Pampered Chef's air fryer, and can't wait to find out who wins the air fryer. So I will take orders through the, I can't remember if I said the 29th or the 30th, so I'm just going to say the 30th. So through July 30th, 2022, so depending on when you're watching this, that deadline may have already passed, but for those of you that are participating with me live today, if you place your order through July 29th, 30th, then I'm going to include you in the drawing for a free deluxe air fryer, and that will ship it right to your door. You will get this cooking guide, and you're going to love all of the details that are in here, and it goes in more depth details about how to use all of the parts, everything that you need to know. You are going to change the way you eat and the way you cook when you get your air fryer in your kitchen. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I cannot wait to hear from you. I always love hearing feedback, especially when I do something like this. I've been cooking for days to get ready for this, and so I love hearing from you. Tell me what you're most excited about making. Let me know what questions that you have, and I can't wait to help you get an air fryer in your kitchen. So as always, I truly appreciate you guys and love you so much, and I appreciate you watching tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. See ya.